Oh. This is by far the most slippery phone I've ever owned in my life. Nancy keeps telling me to put a case on it, but it's not the way they're designed. They're designed to be sleek and fit in your pocket and slip in and out of your pocket, and a case kind of ruins that, but dropping it kind of ruins them too. So until I break it, I'll be right. Once I break it, she'll probably be right. I took a garden hose we had, put a repair end on it. I had purchased everything to install it properly, but I wanted to make sure this washing machine worked. I didn't know what was wrong with it. I knew something was wrong with it. I didn't know what it was. We went to do a load of wash, and it said a motor, I don't know, it says LE code. Basically, it's not seeing the motor spin. So either the motor's failed. There's a set of wires that go from somewhere down here up to the motor. That's the most likely cause, because as that motor shakes and moves, it bends those wires. Then there's a Hall effect sensor on the motor that is the second most likely cause. I see no reason for a Hall effect sensor to ever fail. It's a solid state on-off switch basically, and it's not really a switch. Maybe you call it a switch, on-off sensor. Either way, whatever you want to call it. If I was teaching, I would have already looked up the exactly what it was, but I'm not teaching today. I'm fixing. Yeah, let's get this thing open and see what I find. I bet you I'm going to find broken wires. Which case, the harness is like $18. I'll probably repair it today to have a temporary repair, make sure it works, make sure everything else works. But what I find with when you have a harness that breaks, you can either cut the wire off on each side of the break and put in a new section of wire with 2 splices, and that usually works pretty well for a repair. Or because you can't put a repair where it breaks, because a repair it's just going to break right there again way sooner than it broke there the first time. I've rewired enough door jams in my life to know that if the harness is cheap and available, you put in the harness. If not, you rewire each wire. This harness is like $18. That's a no-brainer. You put in a harness. Let's see what we find. I'll bring you in a little closer so you can see what I'm doing. This is the harness. It was screwed on right there. Most likely it's going to break right here, because as this flexes and moves as it goes, that wire is sitting there and flexing every one of those times. The Hall effect sensor is back behind the motor here. So what you have to do is pull this front part of the motor, and then there's like 6 or so bolts to pull the back part of the motor. If I found a broken wire here, I'm not taking this apart until I get the new harness. But now that I look at this, it looks like I have more room to play here than I thought. If I find this broken, I'll probably just end up repairing it. Mainly because I can't get the part today. You know, if I could just go to a store and buy the part, I'd do it, but that is information on it I may want in the future. Wires really feel pretty good. Usually when there's a break in the wire, the rubber on the outside will stretch. And I don't feel any stretch in any of these. That's where I would have expected the break. I guess I gotta go further into this. Let's take this motor apart. I should probably check the one thing that the one thing that'd probably be too expensive to replace if something in here is like binding or, you know, extremely mechanically failed. I'm gonna open up the door. Let's hope the water level isn't too high, and give the drum a spin and see. Well, can I? Never mind, I can do it right here. Yeah, that spins just fine. Yeah, it's not a mechanical failure there. Time to get this back cover off. Wiggle, wiggle, there we go. They're the elusive 10. Good thing I know where my 10 is. Good thing they're not the 13, because I have 2 broken 13mm sockets over there. Haven't seen a snap-on guy forever. Did see one driving yesterday at drove past a shop and was stopped at, but I didn't have the sockets in the van with me. Good to know they cross-threaded it when they built it. I suppose if a little bit of water leaks on a Hall effect sensor, that could fail it. That's the... I'll be able to get that out. Here's the sensor that's supposed to fail. Let's see what it looks like. I'm wondering if junk in that connector could be the problem. So there's some junk I should have shown you before I blew it off the terminals, but corrosion's never good either, and there's definitely a little bit of that on the bottom of it. I think we can put it back together and fire it up and see what happens. Five different types of screws, and I only paid half attention before I took it apart, but this is definitely one of the 2 machine screws. 4 different types of screws. These 2 are the same. The other one, the rest of them have a thread that would screw into plastic. Should be fine there for a test run. Ooh, wow, that magnet, that could pinch a finger. That's why it came off so hard. It was all those magnets that were holding me up at the end. We go hook up a hose, and I think we're hooked up to power still. Yeah, the screen's still lit up. Remember, always unplug your appliances before working on them. Don't do like I do. Be better than me. But oh well, I didn't get zapped. I didn't touch the wrong 2 wires at the same time, so I'm okay still. Let's give this thing a try. I'll hook up the hose and let's hope it works. Hope it's just a little bit of goop in that connector, and that'd be a pretty easy fix. Put a couple more screws in. Maybe I should take it all the way back apart, try to get that bolt out of there, but man, if I break this, I can't really put any heat on it because I don't want to put heat on this plastic drum. I for sure have to take it apart because I gotta tighten all those down by hand. Then I'll probably put some unplug that Hall effect sensor and put some dielectric grease on there. Hopefully keep it from gonking up again. I'm just procrastinating. Let's get the hose hooked up and let's see if this thing works. I think I'm gonna unplug and plug back in so the code gets cleared. I'll be back. Doing something. I don't know if this has spun at all. I don't know if it's tried to spin at all. Let's see what happens. See, it looks like it's trying to spin it right there. Seems like it's trying to do something there and it's not doing it, so Definitely trying to do something there, and it's not doing it. Look at that try. I think it just set a code. Looks like I gotta take it back apart, and I'm gonna ohm out those coils on that motor. I don't think it's a wire problem. There might be more to that Hall effect sensor than just a Hall effect sensor, but I don't know. Because the power for the motor definitely goes through it, passes through it. It's not just a Hall effect sensor. Should go upstairs and unplug it, but if there. Now that I unplug that, there's no power to anything I'm going to touch anymore. I'm going to get my meter. Enough looking at this. When I went inside to check about ohming out the motor, I started thinking about it. The video I watched the other day, the two videos I watched, they never took this off. That stayed on. The Hall effect sensor sat right here. I can't find the wiring for a Hall effect sensor. I can't find the Hall effect sensor. I think it's odd that it doesn't have it, because that's where it would tell the motor where it's in position, so it knows what coils to turn on and what coils to turn off. But I don't know. I don't know what it's using to know whether the motor's spinning or not. It's got to know something. Either way, I'm going to ohm out this motor and see what the, I think it's delta wound, because there's only the 3 taps. Oh, there is a 4th tap. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Really, consistency in the resistance is what we want to know. Actually, that'll be easier with this off. I should have just left it off. There we go. It's definitely Y-wound, and we have a bad coil winding. That sucks. That was a more expensive part than I was hoping we were going to need. Let's go figure out what this thing's going to cost. I was really hoping for a bad wire or a bad sensor, not a bad motor, but this can't be that expensive of a piece, can it? I'm about to find out. I hate for the open part to be right there at the end where I could repair it too. I think I almost want to take that connector apart and check it. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ohm it. If you look, you can see the end of each of the 3 wires there, and then the end of the where they all terminate together in the middle there. Yeah, I'm going to measure it right off the end and make sure it's not a fault between this connection and that wire. I don't know if you're going to see the meter, but can you see? Nope, I gotta go down a little more. Okay. Hopefully you can see that. So if I go off of the end here, I know those are connections. Nope, the problem's somewhere in here. I could see not seeing a short, but man, you'd think I'd see an open circuit. This makes me want to put some heat and solder to each of these connections anyway. I was playing around with the motor here from the washing machine. I found which coil was bad in the stator, and I decided to cut it and unwind it to find the problem. The very inner winding, it broke on both ends as I touched it, but the one end you could tell was quite a bit more corroded than the other. That end right there. And I believe that's where it was open at before I touched it. That's the wire I had to unwind to get to the broken part. Most of the windings are off of that one coil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the windings that are on it here, this wire that goes to the winding, and I'm going to solder these two together. And with those two soldered together, this winding is going to be like 80%, 90% smaller. There are 36 windings on this motor. They're in 3 series, 12 in series. So this motor, if losing a whole winding, should lose us about 3% power. This is not a full-time repair. This is going to be a repair to see if the machine works, because I've never seen this machine work. If you look, you'll see the X is on the one that doesn't work, and these two to the left of it have just as much corrosion on it. I wouldn't worry about water, but my hands got soapy while I was doing this, and that detergent is going to corrode this faster. That means it's going to corrode this one and this one. I don't want to lose a coil in each of the 3 legs. So I'm going to want to buy a $120 motor. What I don't want to do is buy a $120 motor and keep the water leak that caused this to fail. So I need to fix the water leak first. So what I want to do is I want to get this motor so it works, the machine works again, get the water leak fixed. When I know I have the water leak fixed, then I'm going to place this stator. Pretty cool setup though. Really cool motor in this thing, this direct drive. But not a surprise, the most corroded one was the one that was open. But man, these two don't look a whole lot better. But all this wire is basically garbage now. Originally was going to try to solder it and rewind it. I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm just going to solder these two together. That should get this thing going. I can know if it works, and then I can fix the water leak. Can't really fix and know the water leak is fixed until I have the thing running and can put loads through it. Wish me luck. I think I have everything that I need now. I got my solder, my flux, soldering iron, a little bit of sandpaper so I can get this epoxy off of this wire so I can solder them together. I wish there was more length of wire. I'd put some heat shrink on it, but I don't think that's going to be possible, so I'm going to have to probably just use a little bit of electrical tape to make sure it doesn't touch the other wires, but the other wires are epoxy coated, so as long as I don't mess up the coating on those, I should be alright anyway. Nowhere near perfect, but man, those wires are brittle. I hate to bend them too much. See how this works. I don't have a whole lot of space. I'm going to have to get them pushed down so the rest of the motor doesn't rub against it. Try the other canister. That sounds a little better. Oh yeah, that's hot enough to melt solder now. Running out of heat. I need a soldering gun that's going to work for me. I don't think this one's getting quite hot enough. Yeah, it's not quite hot enough. I'll be back. What do you do when the newfangled soldering gun just doesn't work for you because you ran out of butane? Go to the old trusty that you got in high school. Yeah, the lights have never worked on this since the day I got it. Got it from a friend in high school who worked at Linda Hardware. It was returned because the lights didn't work, so I got it for free, and I've been using it ever since. Thanks, Pete. That was a long time ago. I don't think I got them clean enough. I'll let them cool down and clean them up again and give this another try. Upon closer inspection, I think this is aluminum wire. I'm not going to be able to solder aluminum wire the same way as a copper wire. So took a little spade connector that I had. It's never going to focus on it, but so I took that spade connector and I took off the insulation. I cut off the thing. Now I'll be able to push both of the wires into that, one from each side, and crimp it, and then I'll solder, and the solder will fill in the gaps and whatnot inside of there. But the crimp will do most of what I need it to do anyway. With the crimp, I don't even know if the solder is necessary, but I'm still going to put a little bit of solder into that crimp. I should have left the insulation on so I have something. No, then I couldn't solder it. I gotta get a different crimper. Nope, I got it. Yeah, that works. A bit of paste. There, that solder drew into there nicely. Now I'll just have to protect that and tuck it away. Well, now I should check my work. If I go from this center pin, I should have the same resistance to each of these three. .7, 5.7, 5.4. Huh. Well, yeah, that makes sense. A little less resistance because it's, I don't know, quite a few feet of wire shorter. But it was a complete open circuit before, so now I know I have all three coils that are going to work. I just got to get this covered and then get this thing put together. There, that's nice and out of the way. Tape isn't, end tape is kind of loose there. I don't really like, but I don't care. I do care. Let me grab a little screwdriver and tuck it in. It doesn't want to be tucked in, so it's going to stay like that. There's our repair. It feels pretty good to know that I think I might be having this thing fixed. Let's get downstairs. I think the hardest part about fixing the leak, let's get this hose out of the way here, is that right here seems to be the largest leak, but that one's leaking and that one's leaking, and almost every single one of these, this side's probably worse, but the drum probably spins in a way that this side holds more water to it. They're all leaking. I can't fix all of them. That's a poor design, I would think. So I don't even know how I would fix all of them. I'm going to have to look into it. Maybe there's a gasket in the back there where these... I don't know. I don't know. I'll have to figure that one out. I'm not worried about the leak right now. Maybe what I buy a new motor if this works, and I don't know, maybe I buy a new motor and I buy some like epoxy paint that I coat the motor in to protect it from the leak instead of worrying about trying to stop the little bit of a leak. I don't know what I'm going to do. I just want to see this thing run right now though. I don't care about the leak. I mean, I do before I put money into it, but I don't for today. I still have that broken bolt issue there too. Which I really think is a non-issue. This is supposed to get Loctite on it. I am not putting Loctite on it when I'm taking it back apart right away, but I don't know if it's coming out without it, but it's supposed to have Loctite on it. Nothing's rubbing. I'm not worried about retaining these wires down here until I'm putting it together for the final. I didn't want the wires close to the motor loose, so I attached all of them properly. I think I have to go unplug this and plug it back in to make it work. I really should have unplugged it without working on it. I gotta hook up my hose too, but I think we're ready to see if it works. Not. That's so awesome. God, is that awesome. If women can't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy. I say that a lot. I'm just gonna let this run before I put the back cover on, and we're gonna see. Hopefully everything in it gets nice and clean now. Such a brilliantly designed direct drive motor. So many washing machines have a motor down here in the corner and a belt. I guess maybe that would move the water a little bit further away from the motor, but easiest motor I've ever worked on in my life. Both access wise, well mainly because we have it in here. I don't want to say backwards because we come down through the hatch and able to access the front of it real nice and easy from inside the bus. The whole idea is not to come outside to do the laundry, to stay inside and do the laundry. That's why we're building out this utility room down here. I want to know how much water it used too, so I better get this going into a bucket or something. Just let that go and see how it works. It washed. We have a dryer washer, whatever you want to call it, full of dry clothes now, and it used I don't know how big that bucket is, but it used that much water. It almost filled our little shower tray there. So Yeah, it uses more water than I would like, but I knew washing machines used a lot of water. Not a problem when we can, I don't know, somewhere over there is our hose hookup. I don't know, somewhere in the ground, either way. Not a big deal when we can hook up to a hose, but when we're boondocking, I don't see this thing getting used very much. But man, it's gonna be nice to be able to wash clothes here and when we're other places where we have hookups.